Time now for the voice of the land on the Big Play Network with your hosts, Kevin Arnold and Always Positive Jay.
Welcome on into another great show from the Voice of the Land. I'm your host today. Oh, yeah. Kevin is out on assignment, and I hope he's having a great time. He deserves it. And I got a special co-host, Mike Bohm, in the house, going to talk some OSU football. And as always, my producer, Peter Tellup, as we always call him, audio. We are brought to you by Vector Technical, connecting the right person with the right job the first time, in LPV Productions. You're watching the Voice of the Land on the Big Play Network. And, well, let's get this show going, guys. Good to see you, Mike. It's been a really long time, and it's always good to see you, my friend. How you doing?
Yeah, it has been a little while. Big shoes to fill for both of us tonight, right?
Oh, yeah. I always get nervous when I got to fill Kevin's shoes. He's the ultimate professional when it comes to this stuff.
I'll try to be the smoothest co-host I can here.
And I already forgot to set the timer, so we're just going to go with it.
Just go with it. It's fine.
So how's your summer going, Mike?
Oh, it's been awesome, man.
You've been doing a lot of music stuff, right?
A lot of music stuff. I was just in New York last week. We played a show. Just got back from that, and then been trying to. I'm in 4 bands right now, playing with a few different groups. So
nice. We'll be getting into more of that for sure, because
Yeah.
we're gonna do a last fun segment as usual. We're gonna talk a lot of music today, and if you sports junkies don't like it, tough. No, just tough. I almost swore. I almost swore.
Almost.
Been a long.
do we get a dump button here?
No.
I mean, we can, but we just don't. We try to keep it professional as best.
Understood.
I'm just burnt out. Like, we usually do our shout outs this time of the show. And I got to give my shout out to my friend Mike Myers. He's come in and just saved me from my house project. I have to get it done by Friday. And he pretty much just built my kitchen after I demoed it. So thank you so much. I'm completely exhausted. So if my words are jumbled, I apologize today. Any shout outs for you, Mike?
You know what? Social media is usually, it can be a pretty toxic place. I actually want to say, like, I was totally caught off guard by how encouraging and warming the community has been on TikTok, where I just like frustrations with being able to release my music.
Mhm.
And I just wanted to put my style out there. And the response has been like incredible. And it's just been, everyone has been so encouraging.
I mean, I don't have TikTok, but they'll put the TikTok videos I see on YouTube or on Twitter all the time. And honestly, most of them are awesome. And like, you do a great job always. I mean, you're just a musical
appreciate
talent
that.
for sure. But yeah, TikTok videos they're good stuff, man.
You know what? A lot of stuff goes viral on TikTok.
Mhm.
A lot of musicians go a long way through TikTok, and all kinds of other professions. It's kind of wild.
Nice. Well, Peter, do you got any shout outs this week?
I don't actually think I do. I'm like you, man. I haven't been remodeling my house, but this week's just been so busy, and I'm really not looking forward to going back to work this coming week, because it's going to be busy too. So
yeah, I've been doing 8 to 10 days at my house since last Friday, construction work, and it's killing.
It's a grind.
I got out of construction for this reason. So let me tell you right now, if you need to do work and you can afford it, just pay someone to do it, because it sucks doing it yourself. Like,
Yeah.
But I just don't have a choice.
It's
fun.
very admirable that you can and do actually execute it yourself.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, without my friend, there's no way I would have been able to get it all done by myself. I could do demo like a champ, but he's the man.
That you're partaking and lending a hand in it.
Yes, I help him along the way, but he's definitely the leader of this operation right now. But with that said, we got to probably talk some sports, and let's kick it off a little Indians talk, who just got done splitting a series with the White Sox. They won the first 2, lost the second 2, and I'm sorry, the Guardians. He's looking at me.
I wasn't sure if I should say it.
I got to get better at it. Correct me when you can.
You know what? I do it too. So
yes, the Guardians, who I even bought their jersey. Like, I'm not an anti-Guardians person by any means. I like the name better, and it's wearing on me. I even think the jersey's better, except for the logo. It's got to go.
Now, where do you stand on the Guards nickname? Are you cool with that?
The Guards, not the Gardos.
Yeah,
Sorry, I meant Golden. No Gardos. It's the Guards if it's a nickname. I'm definitely.
I'm honestly, I'm not a fan of either.
Really.
Yeah.
Oh no, I like Guardians. I just call them the Guardians.
All right, let me just bounce one off you real quick.
All right,
The OGs.
the OGs. Explain the OGs? Where's the OG come from?
Because you can't call them the G-men, you can't call them the G's.
Yeah.
The OGs.
I mean, I like that better than the Guards, the Gardos, so we can call them the OGs.
Just, you know,
yeah, the guard
spitballing
just
here.
sounds weird to me. I've heard that on the radio. I'm like, it just seems weird.
I get it, but like, yeah, it's kind of lame.
But yeah,
Kind of.
this series is just pretty much kind of how the season's gone for them. It's up and down, very 500. They're exceeding all our expectations with this young team.
The youngest.
Yes, they're younger than almost all the AAA baseball teams we were talking about last time, and which is unreal.
Yeah.
Well, have you really enjoyed this team?
They have been a lot of fun, and as you said, a lot of surprises. I was working in a radio studio during the All-Star game, and so we were watching that. And I got to tell you, we were all so amped up when Clase on 10 pitches, strikes out the side. But like Guardians performed, it was so. Of all the teams that represented in the All-Star game, I think the Guardians overall had the most impressive performance.
Gimenez, the second baseman, that behind the back throw.
Yep.
As like I'm a shortstop growing up. I love that stuff. Like that eat up defense. And that's so hard. Like people have no idea how much precision you're going one way and you're throwing the ball the other way behind your back. Like that's insane, dude. And they just do it like all the time. Like it was nothing.
Takes a little practice.
Yeah. And you can do that kind of stuff when you're in an all-star game too. I don't know if he would have pulled that move in a regular game or needed he to, but it was fun to watch for sure. They showed up for sure.
I would love to see them all mic'd up. Like I know they talk to the players and stuff. Just mic them all up. I'm sure you could get good sound from all of that. There was good back and forth after that.
I think baseball players could be mic'd. Like football, you couldn't really mic them up live because the words they would be saying. Although some of us would have liked that for a certain game with a certain defensive end and quarterback from the Steelers, but that's a whole nother story.
Oh, but there is no audio from that. No audio at all. No,
it's all under that. It's all under this proverbial rug in the somewhere. I don't know, but yeah, it's out there. Regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd love them to have all the players mic'd up because Major League Baseball definitely needs to do a better job promoting their players for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
So who's been your surprise player this year that you've really liked? Anybody?
Well, I think I've been pleasantly, of course, surprised with that early hot start from Stephen Kwan.
Mm-hmm.
There was a point where he was the hottest player in baseball, and of course, he's cooled off quite a bit.
He's picked up a back.
Yeah, I know. And so it's been an up and down year for him. I think Owen Miller has really come on strong. Is he he's leading all of baseball in sack flies? Is he? I believe that's Owen Miller, right? Yeah. I'm pretty sure that was Owen Miller.
Take your word for it.
I mean, he's been doing it a lot lately, it feels like. But I mean, you see this being one of the youngest team in baseball, just all of these young guys able to step up. There's been a lot of pleasant surprises. And then you see some guys start to fall a little bit when they slump for brief periods, and other guys are stepping up in their place.
And that's pretty much any team in any baseball. Like guys are going to come up, they're going to go down, they're up going to go. It's just the other guys got to pick it up when you're down. But I can't wait to see them when they're all up. Like that team is fantastic, especially when Jose is on fire and he's the engine that drives this offense for sure. Nolan Jones, he's been just a pleasant surprise in the outfield. He's still batting over 300, I think. Is he?
I am not sure of his average off the top of my head.
I'm pretty sure it's still over 300, thank God. But Peter, how about you?
I unfortunately don't get a chance to watch many of the games because
I
have YouTube TV and
same.
I was all excited because I figured, they were in Chicago for the series, and I'm trying to remember what station was showing the game, and of course it's blacked out.
Of course.
So it's like it's on there. It's like, and it's like, damn it.
So if you go on like the ESPN app, I will sit an hour on the ESPN app watching an Indians game because I can't.
Geez, man.
I've done that
too.
The fake batter sitting in there, and then where the strike hits in each little box.
I was doing
so
doing
deceptive
it last night.
too.
Yes, and then you're like, "Come on, please throw the next pitch already."
Right.
I actually opened up the we'll say iHeart app and listened to it on my phone last night because I was listening to the end of it because I'm like, I was doing the same thing though. I'm on the ESPN app and I'm watching. I'm like, come on. I'm like, this is ridiculous. It's like been like 2 minutes. Why hasn't he pitched yet? So
it reminds me of when I was in high school and like we didn't have cable, so if the game wasn't on channel 43, I couldn't watch the game, but I'd always read the box scores in the Plain Dealer the next day in study hall at school, and that's how I'd learn to like. You could pretty much break down how a game scored just reading box scores, and that's what I'm stuck doing right now because the Guardians will not get it together and get on streaming cable, which I'm going to complain about every week until they do.
Hopefully they hear you.
Yeah, they don't.
Eventually.
If they do, they don't.
Persistence.
But that's going to bring us to our first break, I believe, and brought to you by Vector Technical. And on the other side of this break, we're going to start talking some OSU football with the person that I know knows more than anybody about OSU football, Mike Bohm. And till then, we're going to go to break.
Whether you're looking to hire new talent or start a new career, Vector Technical has you covered. Vector Technical is a 28-year-old staffing firm that has helped thousands of job seekers advance in their career with reputable partners throughout northeastern Ohio. Vector Technical is more than just a temp agency. With an above-average hire-in rate of 1 in 4 candidates, Vector works hard to connect the right person with the right opportunity the first time. Vector Technical hires for skilled manufacturing and light industrial work and is sure to have a career that you've been looking for. To learn more, visit our website at www.vectortechnicalinc.com.
Welcome back, and we're getting ready to break down some OSU football. We're going to start off with the offense on this first segment. Mike, I don't even know where to begin, dude, because I have not been able to pay attention with OSU football. What are the expectations this year?
Well,
it's national championship. Am I right?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Of course, that all is going to come back to CJ Stroud, who I think he has to be the favorite just across the college football landscape to be to win the Heisman.
So with all this talent that OSU is recruiting, how long does Ryan Day have to win a national championship? I mean, like, no one's talking about this, but we understand that it's national championship or bust for this OSU team. And he's going to get NFL offers, and we also know he's got someone in the wings waiting.
Now, when you say how much time, you're saying like the possibility that he would eventually end up on the hot seat and fired. So there's no like right answer, no real answer to that, because at the end of the day, circumstances are going to dictate a lot of that. There was a lot that I feel was out of Ryan Day's hands last season that I think Kerry Coombs accepted the blame for, and rightfully so.
That was a former defensive coordinator.
That's right. Yeah.
He's been replaced with a really, really good defensive coordinator, if I'm correct.
Yeah, Jim Knowles out of Oklahoma State. He had one of the top-ranked defenses. And so we're going to get into the defense next segment. I know that. But, yeah, there's a lot to be excited about with that defense. Very young as well. But, I mean, hey, there's a lot of youth on this offensive side of the ball, too. A lot of these playmakers, offensive linemen, they've still got at least a couple years left of eligibility. There's potential for freshmen to make an impact. So, I mean, name a position. Where do you want to start?
Like, with all the transition in the offensive line right now, what are some of the reasonable expectations for Trevion Henderson right now?
Okay. Well, first off, with the line, I think the biggest thing to watch is Paris Johnson making that change, because he was naturally a tackle. You know, he's got that stature, the physicality. He was one of the best in Ohio high school football history at the position down in Cincy. I think that he, playing guard last year, now has to reacclimate himself to that outside tackle position. And so that's going to be one area to watch, because by all accounts, he's been struggling this offseason against Jack Sawyer in the spring game. He had a little bit of a rough go of things. So that's going to be the big one to watch, because the potential is through the roof for him. I think you have to feel great about that. And then the rest of the guys all have a lot of experience. Donovan Jackson, I'm so excited about. He really could have been starting last year if not for the depth and being a true freshman. But I think he's going to come in this year and he's going to turn some heads at that guard spot. And so it's nice to know you can feel comfortable with him next to Paris Johnson. And then DeJuan Jones, the freak of nature at 6'8". I expect him to take a step up from some of those inconsistencies last year. And Matthew Jones, of course, coming into his senior year, his 5th year, you have to expect that he will hold it down. Luke Whippler has looked really promising already as a redshirt sophomore, going into his redshirt sophomore season. So for Trevion Henderson, my biggest fear, and I don't know if it's rational or not, it's just this, it's kind of like this cliche fear of second-year players, right? The sophomore slump. And we saw it with J.K. Dobbins. Sometimes, any number of factors. You get a little bit big-headed, or something outside of football is distracting you. So anything. A lot of times, and opposing defenses might catch up to him, possibly. So what can we expect from Trevion? But his ability, the promise is through the roof.
Oh, he's so fast. That's the only thing I remember is when he breaks away, like, ain't no one catching him no more, dude. He
Yeah.
reminds you of like Nick Chubb when he's gone. Like he pulls away from corners and safeties like it's nothing. You're like, dude, where'd this guy come from? And I had no idea who he was till last year. And wow, he was fun to watch for sure.
Yeah, I'm also really excited about Evan Pryor as well. Both of those guys are
Now, my friend told me he wanted to know all about Evan Pryor. He said,
Okay.
just let him go.
The most exciting thing about Evan Pryor coming in as a recruit, and for me personally, was the way he would line up at receiver, and he was running deep routes, and he was doing it all, but then he was also doing it from the backfield. And he has those receiver skills that you want out of a guy. I mean, he loves the contact, he loves the physicality, and this year he supposedly took that physical leap under Mickey Marotti in the offseason program. So that's one of my favorite parts of the offseason is seeing, just some of the photos of guys.
Well, yeah, they're so young. They make those giant jumps in their body structure.
Yeah.
They just like one season you're like, oh, he looks pretty big. Next season you're like, whoa.
And it happens to like almost all of them.
Yeah.
At this point with Ohio State's recruiting standards, all these guys want to come in and work. They're all motivated. They're all pushing each other. They're all working under Mickey Marotti. So all of these guys are taking that leap. It's really cool to see.
It was like if watching LeBron, because you would like basketball players, you see it obviously because they got tank tops on. You see it a lot more, and like you watch him from his first year to like just his like third year, you're like, wow, he's so much bigger and stronger. Just and they got the best trainers over there and stuff at OSU. So
yeah,
they got a pretty good facility. Someone once told me, I heard, and
not to get too far into the defense again, but I think Jim Knowles encapsulated it best when he said in his introductory press conference with the Buckeyes, he was saying, I have every resource I could ever want here at Ohio State. Like they literally hook up these coaches with everything they could possibly want, anything they could ask for. And when they do ask for it, they get it because the program it's a massive money haul for this.
I mean, in my opinion, it's the second best football program in this nation. Only Alabama beating them.
Yeah.
And
I mean, Alabama's a dynasty. That's fair.
But they're stuck in Alabama, so they're less than us anyways. Alabama. No one likes them. I mean, when it comes to this offense, though, everyone's so excited about the quarterback and this insanely amount of talent at wide receiver.
Yeah.
Like we all know Njigba's coming back. If I say anyone's name wrong, correct me, please. Because
you can say JSN.
JSN coming back, and I think he's just going to be a top 3 draft pick next year. Like he is going to be a phenom. But there's other guys below him that people don't really know about because we've had Wilson and
Chris
Olave just blocking him.
Jeremy Rucker was also getting a lot of looks.
Yeah,
the targets.
So let's tell me about the new receiving crew coming in.
I think we saw a lot already from Marvin Harrison Jr.,
who I'm excited about because I just love Marvin Harrison, even though he's a Colt. But I love that guy. He's just unreal.
Hall of Fame receiver. Yeah. My brother was a Colts fan because of Marvin Harrison, like as a little kid. He's since, he's matured, like he's straightened himself out, but
and then he became tortured like the rest of us.
More or less, yeah. But no, Marvin Harrison Jr., he's one of those guys we were talking about, those players that you see take those leaps, and he kind of took it last season, but this offseason, and Ohio State social media, they do a great job with hyping up the fan base, but they've been having like this offseason segment of like, Marvin Harrison is a freak, part 5, and it's just like these photos of him doing insanely athletic things. And we're talking about a guy who is not only has that athleticism and is big and is bulky, but he also has the speed and he has the frame. Like he's big.
And he knows the position. I mean, his dad was a Hall of Famer. Like
he is so refined.
Yeah. Like he knows everything about the wide receiver position, probably at 10 years old.
And I'm going to be honest, Jay, I'm even more excited about Emeka Egbuka.
Yes, tell me about him because there's another guy I didn't know how to say his name. I saw it, and my friend's like, "This is the guy."
You know what? I hear the G sometimes, other times I don't. I'm just gonna roll with it. If it's wrong, I'm sorry, Emeka. You're an amazing player. I love you. Okay. Anyways, yeah. So, coming out of like the recruiting season, he was the number 1 receiver in the class. And
how tall is he?
I want to say he's like 5'10".
5'10".
Yeah. So
he's like is he more like a Antonio? Like, give me a comparison. What kind of style receiver you would say he is?
I think you see a lot of OBJ like moments.
OBJ.
But yeah,
he is
he's also extremely well-rounded. And I think, OBJ could get it done on all 3 levels of the field, but Emeka was just a highlight machine. And the thing that I always noticed about him, that was just like, I don't know how he did it, and maybe part of it was just him playing out of the slot, but he just has such a supreme knack for getting open. It's beautiful. He has the football IQ to find the space, and he always does. And anytime CJ looks for him, he capitalizes. And this is a major, major yak guy. He eats up those yards after the catch. So I'm a huge fan of him. He's a highlight machine.
So he'll be filling probably Garrett Wilson's role more or less.
We'll see. I think they could use him in all different kinds of roles. I mean, these players are not identical by any means. I think Emeka is a much better athlete than Garrett Wilson in terms of like Garrett Wilson is very explosive, right? But I think like straight line speed, maybe even like lateral agility. I think that it seems like from watching Emeka, I feel like he has an edge.
That's pretty impressive if you got an edge on Garrett Wilson. Like, yeah, he was pretty good here. He was okay.
Oh, Garrett Wilson was amazing. And I'm not saying he's a better receiver than Garrett Wilson. I'm just saying he might in some aspects be more athletically gifted.
And when it comes to like this wide receiver group, I have to say the MVP might be Brian Hartline, who keeps getting these guys. Like, holy recruiting job by this dude. Like,
yeah.
Every day, it's like every other day, my buddy's like, oh, we got another wide receiver from the school. He's a 4-star from here and here. I'm like, dude, I love Brian Hartline. Like growing up, watching him when he was playing with Gonzo, and
the Troy Smith era, Santonio Holmes.
Like one of my favorite players was Brian Hartline, but he did the little things all the time. Like you would see these huge runs, but you didn't realize it was set up because Brian Hartline came out of left field and just blocked the living crap out of some dude, and then Gonzalez is gone for 70. Like he did all the things that no one noticed, but I noticed, and I've always appreciated him for it. And
I was really happy when the Browns picked him up when they got him.
Yeah, I was really happy when the Browns got him, and now that he's at OSU, I even love it more because he is just destroying the recruiting.
Yes, Ohio State, pay the man whatever he wants.
Yes,
just give him everything.
If you need to, we will start a GoFundMe for this, but I know you have the money, so don't ask me for it.
No, yeah. To get back to the actual players as it pertains to Hartline, I think the one that could, at this point seems like the one potential blemish on his resume if things don't necessarily pan out to the way that we would hope is Julian Fleming, because he's coming in as the number 1 overall wide receiver. He apparently is another guy. Well, he's dealt with a lot of injuries. He's had to play with a shoulder issue. He kind of had to wear the same thing that Baker Mayfield wore. Imagine doing that as a receiver and going up for a pass.
I got arthritis in my shoulder. I know what shoulder.
I'm not saying it was the same injury, but like he was wearing it. It's tricky with the brace. And he's had a lot of lingering issues. I believe a high ankle was another one, but coming in as the number 1 overall recruit, expectations are through the roof. And there are a lot of reports that would indicate that he's looked great this offseason. And sometimes when you hear that, it hits. And other times, those players don't. They kind of flop.
So he's got a chance. Like if he gets healthy, this kid's got a chance, more or less.
He came in from a more of a run-first offense out of high school, so he was not necessarily refined to the extent of a Jackson Smith and Jigba. There was a lot for him to learn about Ryan Day's style of offense and opening things up and learning those more intricate routes. So even though his talent was immense, there was still a lot for him to pick up. And so now his 3rd year coming in his junior season, I have high expectations. I know the competition is going to push him. I think Ohio State is going to try to get him a lot of targets. It just, we'll see if he capitalizes, man. It's a big question.
I mean, like from Brian Hartline, obviously he's brought in so much, like no one's perfect. No one's going to hit every one of those.
I mean, you brought in the number 1 overall recruit, like any school in the country would have recruited him. So you can't really call that a massive miss.
Like,
it's just like
all these other teams saying, I can't believe the Browns traded for Deshaun Watson. I'm like, dude, like, most of the league would have done the same thing. They just didn't get it done.
A bunch of teams tried.
Yeah. But now they're going to say that we were the bad guys for doing it. So, yeah. So tight end. Now we have a new starter, correct?
We do. Jeremy Ruckert is gone.
Yeah,
sadly.
You're going to miss him.
Yeah. So is this
where did he get drafted?
I want to say he went to the Jets.
Okay, cool.
Did he go with Garrett Wilson?
I hope so, because I just didn't I'm like, please don't tell me the Steelers or the Ravens.
I want to say day 2 Jets.
All right.
That's
as long as he doesn't go in the division and he's
I know, right?
That's the most annoying thing in the world to me is the Steelers taking my Buckeyes. Like
Steelers and Ravens.
Yeah, I can't stand it. If the Bengals do it, whatever, I deal with it, but just not those other two.
I mean, Joe Burrow kind of bugged me. I was like, we're gonna pay for that.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about that. It kind of scares me that dude's in my division. Like, I truly believe he's going to become their best quarterback. I think he's going to oversee Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, you know what? It's not so. I mean, it probably would surprise me, but like, I wouldn't be floored by it.
Yeah,
Like I could see it because just the sky is the limit for him. You can't
only
really
got to
imagine
the
what his
Super
full
Bowl in the
potential
second
is.
year. No biggie.
Yeah, he and Mahomes both.
Anyways, back to our tight end for the OSU football team. Who is the new starter this year?
Cade Stover, the former defensive end, the convert.
Oh, he's like, we got to, because I know nothing about our new defensive end, so I'm just asking as I'm asking.
Well, no, he's not defensive end anymore. They've been moving him around a little bit and experimenting, and I think right now he's slated to be the starting tight end. And I will tell you what, not this spring game, but the last spring game from a year ago. He had the most impressive catch, and it was ruled out of bounds, but it was like an amazing one-handed grab. It was questionable whether it was actually out of bounds, but they didn't review it. And it was the most impressive grab of the day. So he does have some skills with his hands, and I'm curious to see what his route running is going to be because he still needed some refinement last year, but another year under his belt. And then Joe Royer, I'm kind of excited for because he was a really good receiving tight end as a recruit. He's flashed a lot in the spring games. So he's slated to be the second one, and Mitch Rossi more of the fullback role. But Guy Scott Jr., the former wide receiver converted to a tight end, he's another guy who I really hope to see take that leap. He was already like a big-bodied receiver, more on the slower side, like closer to 4.6 speed. So I really love that they converted him to tight end as well. I don't know if he's behind on the depth chart right now, but I think they're going to try to get him a lot of looks, especially when they want to open things up because he was an elite contested catcher.
So do you think there's a chance any one of those three guys could emerge at the starter by the end of the year, like a consistent starter?
I would say Cade Stover has the best chance of it, but also the most question marks. He has the most to prove, being a guy who, for most of his life, was primarily a defensive end. And, working under Ohio State, he's learning under the best. And when he first started making that transition was during COVID. So that's, it's
not an easy transition. I know, like, when it comes to going to the NFL, they say quarterback's the hardest position your first couple years, followed by tight end, just because the physical nature of the position of it and learning the routes better. So, yeah, good luck to the kid. I hope he does awesome. If he's got hands like you're saying, that'd be great.
Yeah.
And if he's a defensive end, he's kind of mean too. So I kind of would like to see him put a little truck stick on somebody.
Yeah. I'll tell you the tight end I would really like to see take a leap this year is Guy Scott, just because of his receiving skills, but he's got to step it up, obviously, moving from receiver, blocking from inline, blocking closer, bigger players. That's something that he had to work on a little bit. And so I'm wondering what kind of role he's going to have with the team and whether that aspect of his game has improved. But he's in great hands, and especially working with CJ Stroud under center to bring it all home. I think that you have to trust that at least one of these tight ends is going to give you what you need out of the position.
Well, we only got one position really left, the most important position, and he might be the best player in the league this year, CJ Stroud. I see him taking a big jump from even last year, and last year he was phenomenal. And the big jump will be, I think, a much quicker start off. Like last year, I believe he was hurt in the beginning of the year.
Yeah, CJ,
and a lot of the fans on Twitter got on him, and we're like,
"Oh my God, dude!"
Yeah, like patience.
I could not believe. I was outraged by that.
Oh, I was getting so annoyed. So annoyed.
Not the fact that like fans do it in general, because any fan base, especially Ohio State, you're going to have that small pocket of fans, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the overwhelming amount of fans that were coming after CJ's neck after 2-3 games. Are you kidding me?
Who was the kid that Ewers? That they all wanted?
Oh my God. Start Quinn Ewers. Yeah, forget about Kyle McCord.
What did he do for us? Where's he at? He went to Texas. Yeah. You
you
guys were right. Yeah. Next time you go to send a tweet, maybe think about it before you send it.
Not to be too harsh on my own fan base, but it was a little despicable how harshly people were treating CJ Stroud and not giving him a chance when he showed more than enough promise. Some of the throws that he made in that Oregon game, man.
That's what I said. I didn't think he was, like, everyone's complaining. I'm like, he's not that bad, but
he wasn't doing it consistently enough for them coming off a Justin Fields season in which he didn't throw a single pass.
Exactly. Or like a lot of those guys, they get like the fourth quarter or whatever to play every season. He didn't. So yeah. Let's. But the problem is, those people on Twitter are really, I think, a small majority of the fans. They're just the loudest.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely. Because
most
that
people
stuff,
are like me and you.
it
We don't
pierces the
get out on
deepest.
Twitter. All we do is read, like, come on, and then we don't say anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, most people are just reading and not typing. It's the
and
angry
players
people.
see this stuff too. It's hurtful. It
Well,
really is. Even if they know they're lying.
Me and the former host over here, Nick Padone, or not Nick Padone,
Paulus,
would constantly go back and forth on booing your own team. And I'm like, I don't tell people I'm a fan, whatever. Me personally, I'll never boo my own team. I think it's pointless. I think it's counterproductive. Like, why would you bring them down? Like, that's your team. Like, if you're on my team, I root for your team. I treat you like you're on my team. I'm never going to, if you're like on my softball team and you're not playing good, I'm not going to boo you. So why would my fans boo me? Like, I'm going to try to pick you up. I'm like, more positive, you're going to get positive. You know what I'm saying? You bring negative, you're going to get negative.
Of course, yeah. You want to spread positive energy. Nuts. Now, I will say I could put myself into an athlete's shoes, right? In a game where you're performing so poorly, you know, you're getting your butts beat 40-0, and it's like, okay, we deserve these boos today. You know, there are some of those in press conferences where you'll hear players and they're like, yeah, we deserved it today. And
boo them as a team.
It's right.
That's another thing.
Sure.
If you're gonna boo them as a team.
And the circumstances should absolutely warrant booing.
Yes.
But yeah, there are some, and certain fan bases are worse than others. Like I hear Philly is pretty bad with it, you know, where it's just you boo your team after a bad play, and it's like you can totally come back from that.
But so Stroud is probably going to be drafted next year, hopefully first overall, because a Buckeyes fan,
top 3 most likely,
first overall.
Yeah,
putting it in the universe.
It depends what they need.
There. Yeah,
I mean, depends what number one needs.
Good call.
You know,
but who's the guy who's going to step up after him now? Who can we? Who do you think is going to be the man?
Well, I think you just have to assume it's going to be Kyle McCord, just as like the second most seniority at the position. I will say that Devin Brown, the freshman, he showed out in that spring game. He showed a lot of promise, but then again, so did Kyle McCord 2 years ago.
Styles like there's the. I know nothing about these guys, so
yeah.
I was one a running, throwing kind of guy like a Justin Fields, or is the other one like a CJ Stroud, more pocket?
They're all more along the lines of CJ Stroud, and frankly, I think that Ryan Day is comfortable with that.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, you want the ball in the hands of your best runners.
Yeah,
and your quarterback.
When you got receivers like us, having a mobile, like having a Justin Fields is a luxury because that guy could throw like awesome, and he was phenomenal on the run. And the Bears are ruining him, but that's no
they
story.
are.
But yes,
shame on you, Bears.
Shame.
Yeah. Shame. No, but I would say Devin Brown and Kyle McCord, both guys who previously had liked to air it out. Kyle McCord, by the way, alumni of the same high school as Kevin Stefanski, St. Joe's in Philly.
Oh, nice.
And Marvin Harrison Jr. So they were teammates, so he already has that rapport with him. And I think you see like a lot of the receivers really love McCord. He's put in a lot of the extra work with these guys because all the receivers, you know, top-notch talent, they're guys who are putting in the extra time as well. They need someone to work with them. CJ can only do it so much. So it's been, I think you would have to expect Kyle McCord, but there's still a lot that you need to see from him because in his limited time playing, like you had the Akron game where he had a touchdown that was honestly kind of a bad throw that just kind of worked out, you know, but you see the moments, you see the glimpses of it. And frankly, it's just in the offseason, you can only see so much with your eyes, but you have to expect that he is going to take a leap considering who he's putting in the work with, how much work he's putting in, you know, the people he's surrounding himself with. Like there's no reason that you can't expect growth from him this season.
So
in the limited time he'll play behind CJ.
So all in all, you believe this offense is just going to be a phenomenal this year, correct?
Absolutely loaded. If it's not top 2, I think it's disappointment.
Nice. Well, that's the offense. On the other side of this break, we're going to break down the defense, who I think is going to make a massive jump with this new head defensive coordinator, and everyone seems to be really excited about them. So we'll see on the other side of this break. But for now, you can learn how to get some of our gear.
Are you struggling to hire the right talent or maybe even find the right career? Vector Technical makes it easy. Since 1992, Vector has provided Ohio employers with a reliable process for hiring and have helped thousands of job seekers advance in their careers. Vector Technical is more than just a temp agency. We invest time to get to know each client and candidate personally. Vector places people in job opportunities that they are truly excited about. Interested in learning more? Visit our website at www.vectortechnicalinc.com to see a full list of our current job opportunities and to find out what Vector Technical can offer you.
Get your gear at voiceoftheland.com/shop.
Welcome back, everybody. This is the Voice of the Land. We're with Mike Bohm. You can find him at Mr. Bombastic on Twitter, and you have a TikTok, correct?
I do.
Plug
Mr.
away, man.
Bombastic on all handles, or,
Oh.
or all same handle on all social media. MISTABOHM Bastic.
All right. We're going to break down some defense now. How excited are you for the new defense coordinator, Mike?
I'm very excited. I think it's going to make a huge difference. Ohio State really needed to do this.
Basically, on a 1 to 10, you're like a 15.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
I'm like at a 16. Just want to help you.
Yeah. It was like, not to say that like it's going to be the same results, but it was like Greg Williams levels of excitement for me, like during his introductory press conference. I don't know if you remember how epic that press conference was. And it wasn't like that kind of epic.
Well, any Greg Williams press conferences are epic.
Yeah. But just the excitement you feel when he talks about like his vision for it and all the possibilities. But I see I heard with this press conference with Jim Knowles, formerly of the other OSU, Oklahoma State, there was a lot to be encouraged about. I mean, for one, you think about where he's coming from in a Big 12 defense where you just have less talent to work with overall. Your recruiting classes are not consistently as talented. We know the reputation of the Big 12 defenses. What he's been able to do in the Big 12 by having one of the top ranked defenses in college football, that's remarkable. And so you put that system, you put that into Ohio State's program, increased talent, increased resources, increased pretty much anything he needs at his disposal. So you just have to imagine that you're going to see what he was doing at Oklahoma State.
And these aren't just increases. These are massive increases. Like we said, this is the number 2 football program in the world. Like,
you could say there's a talent gap between Ohio State and the other OSU.
Just a scotch.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Just a bit.
Yeah.
So what kind of scheme is he going to bring in? As someone, if I'm wrong, correct me. It's kind of similar to the Browns are with the 3 safeties.
He's honestly going to mix it up a lot.
Is he?
There's like a base system that he's going to have. I want to say it's kind of like a 4-2-5 base. But I expect that we're going to see all different kinds of things mixed up. And especially with some of the younger guys they have coming in as the season progresses,
which
possibility
is a little different than last year, which they were running. It felt like the same defensive play every play.
Yeah, there was a lot of turnover. There was a lot of.
So if you were complaining about Twitter about the defensive plays, go ahead. I didn't have a problem with that at all.
Though the defense was really ugly last year. And look, they had some moments where it looked like they were kind of starting to get it together, but they needed to make a change. And you have to wonder, with it being Jim Knowles' first year, not only that, this is also a very, very young defense. A lot of underclassmen, freshmen and sophomores. So how quickly are they going to be able to adapt into Jim Knowles' system? I
keep hating to relate them to the Browns, but that's kind of what they did last year with our defense. We were very young. New defensive system. You watch those first 6 games and you're like, what's going on here? And then when it clicked, that defense was phenomenal.
Yeah, we really saw him get it going.
So that's what you're kind of hoping with the Buckeyes is our offense will carry us at first. The defense will be good, but it'll keep getting better and better and better.
I'm gonna say that I hope that Ohio State starts off a little quicker, and primarily just because obviously you have Notre Dame that first week, but I think overall it's going to be a lighter schedule, and especially that first game, like Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman, thank you. They've already given Ohio State so much bulletin board material.
Oh, yeah, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
I don't know what he said, but when he said it,
he criticized Ohio State's academics.
Thank you.
Yeah, he said something else, kind of like denouncing his time at Ohio State and why Notre Dame was better, essentially. And so I don't think Ohio State didn't hear that. They know.
Oh, they know.
And they're going to want to stick it to him. And those kinds of things, like the game this next upcoming season, how angry they're going to come out. I think you're going to see a little bit of that intensity in week 1 as well, because they want to make a statement. But after that, it's overall going to be a lighter schedule. And so they're just going to have an opportunity to really get it going, make plays against guys who are just, let's face it, they're lesser talent.
Yeah.
But even so, like the the players that they have, the recruiting classes that they've brought in, especially on that defensive line, Jay, it's just absolutely absurd.
So my friend wanted me to ask you, who do you think is going to have the bigger jump this year, Jack Sawyer or JT Tuimoloau?
Yeah. You could just call him JT. They used to call him JTT. He actually said that the JT is his actual initials because JT, his first name is actually Jalen.
Oh,
so
they added too many T's already.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
He's like offended when people call him JTT
won't
to his
do
face.
it.
Yeah. So JT,
I'm sure he's huge and scary. I definitely want to do that.
oh, he is huge and scary. He and Jack Sawyer both, they're quite the dynamic duo, Jay.
Because I mean, I think last year we lacked a little bit on those edge rushers. But we're used to Chase and the Bosa brothers and stuff, and
you know
we
what?
haven't had one of those guys since.
I think part of that was not just on the players. Now, Tyreek Smith and Zach Harrison, I think you wanted to see more from them, and they really flashed at times. I also think coaching was a big part of it. They really often weren't letting these guys run free. I think there were also often questions with the personnel decisions, like in the final game, really only playing Tyleik Williams for a couple of snaps, like 3 snaps. And, you know, when all these guys are tired, all coming off the flu, you'd really think that you want to get some players breathers as much as possible. And Tyleik really flashed last season from the interior. He's an athletic freak. Some people will tell you from Ohio
He's from Cleveland, correct? Tyreek Smith?
Tyreek Smith is Cleveland Heights.
Yeah, he I think he announces, I heard him on ESPN when he announced that he was going to OSU. That was the kid I'm thinking about, right?
Yeah, Tyreek Smith. Yeah, I had the pleasure of calling some of his high school games at Heights.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he was a freak. He got it done at tight end and defensive end, but you could tell they were overworking him because he was worn out by the fourth quarter and he just wasn't making as many plays.
Yeah.
He'd slowed down a little bit when you're getting it done a lot on both sides.
You guys have no idea. Like, if you're just watching, I've played in like the trenches before. That is so incredibly tiring. It's far more tiring than running routes as a receiver, like beyond tiring, because you're using everything. It's like you're wrestling. You're Romo Greco wrestling pretty much the whole time.
You know who had a quote that I found to be pretty pround from an offensive lineman? Yeah. Austin Corbett, the night he was drafted during his introductory phone conference call. And he was talking about from like the interior offensive line. But he said it's a car crash every play.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of wild to think about that kind of contact so consistently for that many snaps. Like, wow, these guys, they're warriors.
When you did you ever see the movie Concussion with Will
Yes.
Smith?
Most of it. Yes.
Yeah, the former lineman for the Steelers. He went all completely crazy from CTE because like you're saying, everything, boom, boom, you're just banging heads that whole time. I'm
convinced I had a concussion in middle school football, and like I didn't even know what it was at the time because like it wasn't a big deal at the time, but I definitely, I distinctly remember getting trucked.
Oh, I know I've had like many concussions. I've just kept going, and I'm like, probably should have stopped playing. But you're like, whatever, we'll get over it. So
it happens.
You see a huge jump on the defensive line then.
Yeah. Oh, I expect a major one. Now, the question is, and I think I'll tell you right now, in 2 years, this is going to be the most dominant defensive line in college football. It's just the question of whether they can get there this year is youth, because you're going to have so many players who are only in their first and second years. Now, Zach Harrison, I have to wonder if he's going to lose his starting job by the end of the season, depending on Jack Sawyer, because you have to expect such a major leap from him. Like I said in the previous segment, he's been working Paris Johnson, one of the most talented offensive tackles. Now, it's possible that Paris Johnson's transition to outside from being inside for one season, maybe that's a factor in it. But by all accounts, Jack Sawyer, he's grown physically under Mickey Marotti, second year under Coach Mick. So I really expect him to do really well. And then JT Tuimoloau, he's just a freak, like an absolute freak of nature. And he's going to dominate guys left and right. And he is number 1 overall pick material. Like, they're different. They're different players, he and Jack Sawyer. And that's why they complement each other so perfectly. And so by the end of the season, I think you're going to see him on bookending. I think they can. It's possible.
Because, like, I think that would just drive an offensive lineman nuts. You're getting used to this guy's style, and you're getting used to it, and then halfway, and then all of a sudden you get switched, you get a whole different guy, and they're completely different. Just that would drive me insane.
You have to remember also, as well, it's possible that Jim Knowles may have been limited in what he could do given his personnel at Oklahoma State. How much of that style is really going to carry over to Ohio State, and how much does this personnel open up things for him? And he's one of those guys who wants to coach and cater to players' strengths, right? So obviously the skill sets of the players on Ohio State are not going to be identical to those of the Cowboys, Oklahoma State Cowboys. So you have to imagine that there are going to be some differences. If people tell you they know exactly what kind of scheme Ohio State's going to run defensively, I feel like they've got to be lying, because there's just so much that we can't truly say for certain until we see Jim Knowles trot out those players, how he envisions them, because it's going to be something really special.
Nice. All right, let's move on to the linebacker team. I don't remember a single linebacker from last year. Just like, is there a reason for that? Was there anybody good last year? Am I missing out something? Like, I'm used to always hearing about at least one awesome OSU linebacker for so many years, from Katzenmeyer to my favorite player almost is AJ Hawk. Like, I loved AJ Hawk, Bobby Carpenter, and Schlegel. Like, I loved watching linebackers. That's my favorite position on defense, without a doubt. Do we have any like studs like these guys coming up now?
You know what? I don't know if we're going to see them get a lot of time this year, but I would say yes. And this year, I think the expectations are, you have to imagine Tommy Eichenberg and Steel Chambers going to be trotted out there a lot. Steel Chambers, we talked about a guy in Cade Stover who transitioned from defense to offense last year. This was, I think, even more promising, just the growth from Steel Chambers, just an absolute bullet out there, being one of the most consistent linebackers Ohio State had. But then you've got Tommy Eichenberg, another local kid, who he showed so much growth over the course of the season, because he was getting bashed pretty badly, but he had some really, really rough outings to start the season and along the way. But those inconsistencies, they were just a little less inconsistent as the course of the season went on. So you saw it was one of the most clear growths of the defense.
Someone took over the play calling like during the season, correct, for defense?
Kerry Coombs stepped down. I don't know why I'm blanking on who stepped in, but
when they stepped in, is this kind of when everyone kind of transitioned more or less of playing better on defense?
I think there was improvement. There were still things that needed to be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
The linebacker
but you're also
room especially.
Changing what you're doing halfway through the season, too, so you kind of expect that.
Yeah, the crap hit the fan. You're kind of scrambling to figure a lot out. And there was also a lot of trial and error.
And then, for, like you said, doing what you're doing, they weren't that bad.
It was Matt Barnes. Matt Barnes came in, and then Parker Fleming slid over to his former role as special teams coordinator. And now Matt Barnes is gone, but of course you replaced him. Not only did you get it, Jim Knowles, you also brought in some defensive analysts. So you really you're bringing in all the different perspectives. You're ramping up that side of the ball, because at the end of the day, you can't really put that much of the defense on Ryan Day. Mm-hmm. Like, how much blame can you really give Ryan Day if the defense is the weak link here?
Yeah.
Because there's so much out of his hands. And I get that he's the head coach, and so by default it falls on him. But it's really out of his hands. And so this is going to be the show of Jim Knowles. The defense is his world, and we're living in it. So we'll see what happens.
But I think that's a good thing. When you got a good defense coordinator in Ryan Day, who's an excellent offensive mind, he's the head coach. One, you got to watch over the whole team, but he's overlooking the offense the whole time too.
I already trust him more than Kerry Coombs.
Yeah, you don't need him thinking like he doesn't need to worry about the defense in the back. It's going to free him up more.
I mean, you never had Kerry Coombs in a play calling role. So that, he's already coming in. Knowles is already coming in with more experience in that regard. But going back to those linebackers real quick, because I just wanted to mention there are some really exciting names a little on the younger side.
That's what I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
Someone was telling me the recruits or something else, and it has to do with our new coach coming in. They're excited to play for him.
Well, firstly, they got a guy who redshirted from last year out of Ironton, Reed Carrico, who I think has like that kind of Laurinaitis potential. I think you could see that from him, because he's
another one of my favorite players.
Yeah, because he has like the leadership side of it. He has the athleticism. He has the football IQ. I mean, this is kind of one of those do-it-all linebackers who I think is more athletically fit for the modern game. So this is a guy that I think we could see really make an impact. Maybe not this year, but perhaps in a couple of years. Another one that I'm really excited about, and I have to expect that he'll probably see the field a little bit, Captain Buckeye, as Ohio State has embraced the nickname for him, CJ Hicks.
His nickname's Captain Buckeye.
That's what they started calling him for his role in recruiting, because he was so instrumental in the recruiting of all these players in that class. And he's also like, he is kind of the captain of the class just because of how good he is on the field. Like, we're talking about a defensive back at linebacker.
Oh, wow.
Like that kind of skill set, like the physical stature, but the DB skill set and athleticism and the football IQ. Like, this guy was
the size of Minka Parsons, more or less, but the speed and skill set of a JOK.
Micah Parsons, wasn't he a D end?
He's outside linebacker, defensive end.
Yeah. I somewhere around there. He's only coming in as a freshman. I think we'll see him bulk up, but he
Mhm.
has played DB. He's played safety. He's returned kicks. He does a lot.
He's a freak.
Yeah, he's a freak. So CJ Hicks is a guy who I really expect to come in. And then the other one, it's kind of crazy. They got like a guy, arguably the number 1 linebacker in consecutive classes. Well, now it's the same class because he reclassified, Sonny Styles, son of Lorenzo Styles, former Buckeye. Now his older brother is currently at Notre Dame. So that'll be a fun little brotherhood matchup. Yeah, but no, Sonny Styles is another guy who he's big, like in every regard. Like he is jacked, and he's been under Coach Mick's strength and conditioning program for a little bit now. He was here for an off season. Like he reclassified from the recruiting class after this one into this class, and he came in early.
Nice,
right? So you would expect him to probably come in being a little on the smaller side as far as keeping up with the other guys, but no, he's kept up. I don't know if he's going to play right away because, technically he should still be like, he's technically still a senior in high school right now, but he was one of those guys who was, like I said, a number 1 linebacker in a recruiting class, that kind of talent coming in. So he and CJ Hicks, if not this year, probably not this year, but in 2-3 years, I think that I mentioned the defensive line could be the most dominant in 2 years. In 2-3 years, I think the linebacker room could be right up there as well.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Like we were talking about Madden. When I play Madden, I have to be a linebacker. I just love being a linebacker.
Something about the silver bullet linebackers.
And in the NFL, they don't even use them like they used to anymore, which kind of sucks because I've always wanted the Browns just have one of those Ray Lewis kind of guys or Brian Urlacher, just scares offenses to death.
Yeah.
So what about our secondary this year? We got I know Burke's coming back, correct?
Yeah, there's a lot to be excited about with Denzel Burke, of course, but then he was the lowest ranked recruit of the 3 DBs that they had come into this class. So they had 2 other guys. Now, the thing that Denzel Burke had, the edge that he had over those other 2 was he was a part of the offseason programs where if you graduate early and you can join Ohio State. So that obviously gave him a huge edge and it paid dividends.
One thing about
dividends.
OSU too, when you see them bring in like a 2-star or guys that aren't even ranked,
Burke was a 3-star.
Those guys somehow always become great players. Like they know where to find those unseen kind of guys like that.
I'll tell you what, also with Denzel Burke, he was an amazing receiver in high school. Like you watch him, he has a knack for playing the position. So you have to think that that's a huge part of what makes him so great in the secondary.
Yeah, because I mean, most DBs are just receivers that can't catch.
Right. And so, you've got to love that you've got a true sophomore leading the way at defensive back because you've got 2 more who redshirted who are right behind him, and Ja'Kalen Johnson and Jordan Hancock. Jordan Hancock, former Clemson commit. So it's just like I love that we got him from Clemson.
Oh, anytime I steal anything from Dabo, it's good.
It was.
You know what's funny? Before he won his first national championship, I kind of liked him. I was like, oh, this guy's cool. Yeah. And then like real quick, I'm like, dude, this guy's real annoying. He's got to go.
It's like one of the kind of guys that like you admire, his personality until you really get to know him once he actually hits it big.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, so Jordan Hancock decommitted like within a day of that video that Dabo did wearing the Clemson gloves talking about his drip. Like it was literally, I don't know, coincidence? Probably. I don't know. But no, so Jordan Hancock and Ja'Kalen Johnson are both guys that I think we'll see make an impact this year. Just you kind of need them to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have some depth, but I think that
we've been pretty good at finding corners at OSU for the last like 10 years. I feel like
we
got a couple like all pros and.
I also forgot to mention like Tanner McAllister, who's a guy that we could potentially see in several roles. Because he's a guy who has knowledge of Jim Knowles' system, and he has the kind of athleticism where you could put him at corner or safety, maybe as like a hybrid linebacker role.
We had some great safety recruits this year too, didn't we?
Yeah, there's a lot to be excited about. I mean, in the secondary as a whole, but I think Kai Stokes is one that guys are really hyped up about. I mean, going back to the spring game, to practices, he was only a 3-star recruit, but he's only behind Ronnie Hickman. Really, in that free safety room, I think there's a lot of possibility that he could make an impact as a true freshman.
It's like my one buddy, he's like you. He's this OSU guru kind of guy, and he knows all these guys. They have no idea who you're talking about today. And that's why it's great for me to question because people watching don't know.
I still miss some names too.
Yeah,
it's just flying through these things.
But he's explaining. He's like, in this year is going to be a phenomenal year, and because next year and the following year
Yeah.
are going to be unreal good. Like our defense is going to be unbelievable, and with our
And
offense and these receivers, they just keep bringing these receivers from everywhere. I think they have a printing factory for receivers now. It's
Sure
kind
seems
of,
that way. Wide receiver,
it's next door to the printing factory the Guardians use for pitchers.
Right. No, I would say, I mean, there's so much to be excited about. Really, the only question for like future seasons is quarterback and who steps up. But even like come 2024, when you got the number one recruit in the country, and even by some recruiting sites, the number one quarterback recruit of all time, things are looking bright.
Yeah, they're pretty bright at OSU, just a little bit. So our first game's Notre Dame, man. How excited are you for that one?
Stoked.
Yeah.
I think we're going to stick it to them.
So you don't like Notre Dame, do you?
You know, look, no offense to some Notre Dame fans.
I don't have a problem. I have no problems with Notre Dame fans. I got a couple friends. We know who they are.
Some are a little cocky.
Yeah.
I mean, then again, so
why.
are Buckeye fans, but like,
We've won national championships in the last 20 years. Notre Dame is the most overhyped football team I've ever seen in my entire life. It's like every year, like this is the year for Notre Dame.
yeah.
So
and then every year they disappoint.
playoff or a bowl game and they get crushed.
And yet they still have that same air of entitlement.
That, and I have a problem because I couldn't stand that we drafted Brady Quinn. I didn't want him. And
I was kind of excited for that.
No, I can't. I couldn't stand him. I was not a Brady Quinn fan. I'm like, I thought he was more about his image than the actual game. He always was like, I had a hunch.
Now
on
I'm
him.
done.
Yeah. Although when we drafted him, I was excited. And then I watched him play again. I'm like, oh God, he did suck.
Good call. You were right.
I can't. Just don't ever draft Notre Dame quarterbacks. I don't want them unless their name's Montana behind there.
Notre Dame quarterbacks are the new Ohio State quarterbacks.
Yeah. Well, that's our breakdown for OSU. I mean, I think we covered about everything. You got any questions?
We missed
Pete?
a few.
I haven't asked you anything all day.
I just been trying to take this all in. I'm getting excited for it. I mean,
we did overlook a few names. I mean, like on defense, like Cody Simon. What can you expect from him? Or like even on offense, some of the receivers, because that room is so deep. Like Jalen Ballard has apparently looked really good going into his redshirt freshman season. He was a deep threat, like a really good deep threat out of Massillon. Like this guy might be the fastest receiver on the team, so look out for him as a vertical threat. You know, there's a lot to be excited about. I digress.
Yes, but thank you, man. I got nothing, man. Like you covered it all, bro. You covered it all. That's why I wanted you in.
I'm sure I'll think of something as soon as
I frankly couldn't talk about Deshaun Watson's case anymore. And This is much, much better. Thank you. So we got one more break, and when we come back, we're going to have a little fun. We're going to talk music.
Are you looking for a career in manufacturing? Vector Technical has you covered. Vector Technical is a 28-year-old staffing firm that has partnered with some of the biggest and the best companies throughout Northeastern Ohio. The recruiters at Vector Technical will coach you through the entire job process and will help you land an opportunity that you are truly excited about. Vector does not add any additional fees and offers benefits as well as free online skills training through Penn Foster. To learn more, visit www.vectortechnicalinc.com and make sure to check out our job board to see a full list of our current opportunities and apply.
Welcome back, and we're in a final segment. We are still with Mike Bohm today, and now we are talking music to change it up because, frankly, we talked a lot of OSU football there, and I want to have some fun with my friend here.
Let's do it.
So you're just been immersed with your music lately, correct?
Totally immersed. Like
you could see excitement on his face when you bring up music. It's a big smile. He's like, yeah, let's talk music.
Yeah, I mean, I got back from New York. I played an open mic the next night, performed some originals. In New York, we played a gig, but yeah, there's, certain things when you're in a band are just out of your control, right? Dealing with bandmates who are dealing with life and whatever. So it got a little frustrating. And I really, after 4 years of one band that I've been trying to write music with and release stuff and just waiting
what was the name?
It does. So this one, we haven't announced the name yet. My band in New York is called Dead Superstar.
Yes, that's the one I know. And you went.
We went out.
On
we went on
with a group friend of mine that's also, I know them. It's Jackie. Laponza.
Oh yeah.
The Laponza.
Unsaid Fate. Yeah.
I couldn't think of their. Yeah.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Funny that I knew them growing up, and then you went touring with them. I'm like, wait, you're
Yeah.
touring with my friend the Laponzas? It's like, yeah. I'm like, oh wow.
They're really tight with the band Mushroom Head. A lot of the guys in Unsaid Fate are on the Mushroom Head crew.
Who, when I used to bartend, they used to come to our bar all the time, and I used to hang out with all those guys. And I knew
Yeah.
him like without the makeup and all the mask.
The mask, yeah. So we sometimes Jackie would be on stage with them for some of the shows, but it was really cool. It was such a fun time. And
First time ever mosh pit was at Mushroom Head concert.
Ooh.
I lasted like 5 minutes, not because I was hurt by any
Impressive.
means, not by hurt, because I mean I'm a pretty big dude and I could play football.
5 minutes in a mosh, man.
No, it was gross.
Yeah.
It was the grossest thing. I will never do it again, dude.
Yeah,
So
I'm not a mosher.
So I go in there. I'm not hot or sweating, and I'm in there banging around with people, and I'm like, dude, my shirt is completely drenched.
Yeah.
And I'm not. This
it's
is
gross.
everybody else's sweat. I'm like, oh. I gotta go. So I ended up just buying one of their overpaid concert T-shirts, and just I went outside, did a handstand, had my friend just throw water bottles all over me. I'm like, get it off of me, get it off me, and I went home.
It's really disgusting, and sometimes it gets violent too. And
yeah.
You might have to stop a show sometimes if it gets like
See,
punches thrown.
Personally, that's like the only music I don't listen to really, unless I'm working out. And then I want some of that heavier stuff. What do you play, kind of?
Well, I play everything. I mean, I bought it's called MKC Mini. It's like a beat making thing. I want to write some electronic stuff influenced by hip hop beats. So I got a project in that, and then all kinds of rock. I mean, like hard rock, anything. Just I love music with soul. It's got to be soulful. I just want to write anything soulful. It's not really defined by genre. And then I also play guitar in a hip hop project. My singer in one band is a rapper, so I play guitar for him. But sometimes it's hard to put music out, and I haven't been able to release any of my own like original writing. So I just started putting my style on TikTok. And the response has been really receptive. Like people have been really receptive, and it's been really warm.
You've watched a couple of his TikToks, correct, Peter?
Yeah, I was checking it out today, so
it's pretty good.
It's
better than anything I do. So
oh yeah, I mean I can't play anything. So like I was telling him, I grew up. My stepsister played sax. My brother played trumpet. My other brother made beats and rap. My stepmom was a choir director, and I could play sports. That's how it worked out.
Yeah, I mean, I love music and sports. So
yeah,
I
love listening to music. I just can't do it.
That's all that matters.
So, who are your big influences, though? Would you say in your life, like maybe a top 5 or 3 doesn't matter, no set number, just
So it really depends on.
I know you love Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, Hendrix is like my idol, basically.
I mean, if you play guitar and Jimi Hendrix not your idol, you're doing it wrong.
Probably. I mean, personally, I would agree with that, but no, some people would get very angry over that, and I understand. I respect where you are with your influences. It's cool. I'm one of those Hendrix guys. And then I picked up a guitar because of Angus Young out of AC/DC. But
that's one of my favorite bands.
Yeah,
like personally, I'm sorry, I really don't like your main influencer that music, but I don't listen to him. I know I consider him the greatest guitar player ever.
You probably only heard the hits though.
You might be right. So you're gonna have to help me out here.
Oh, I got you.
Because I'll re-listen to anything, dude. And you're right, because most of the time you hear just the stuff on the radio. If you get their CD, you're like, dude, there's like 5 songs on here that I've never heard, and they're amazing. Yeah,
you know what? I'm really bad at like diving into albums. That's one cool thing about TikTok. People have just been requesting songs.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah,
I gotta request one for you one of these days.
Yeah, please do. And I tried to come up with like a different concept, so I've been soloing over stuff that doesn't normally have solos, and trying to make it work and trying to build on songs. And so far, I guess people think it can sometimes.
I'll tell you this much though. I know you like rock and all that, but dude, if I got my new Cleveland Stranger Things shirt on today. And then the last season of Stranger Things is the greatest metal concert of all time.
Is it?
All time.
Yeah, like some
they announced that
some supernatural stuff going down.
Oh, some supernatural stuff going down. It is amazing. And the dude pretty much bust out a guitar solo, and I'm like, oh God, don't play Iron Man, because I hate that song. Like I can't stand the song Iron Man, because every kid that's
it's
ever
a little overplayed.
Yeah, any kid that's ever learned how to play guitar, it's the first thing they do, and all you hear for hours is Iron Man.
That and Smoke on the Water.
Yeah, Smoke on the Water and Iron Man. Like I just can't stand them. They're great.
I can play both of those.
I'm sure. Because everyone
more than a lot of people can say though.
I can't, and I just don't want to hear it.
Yeah,
you got to watch it, and I don't want to say anything else. I don't even care if you just watched last season for that part alone. I'm sure you could YouTube Eddie Munson's guitar solo, and you'll be like, "Yep, this is the most metal thing ever."
Okay, I'll check it out. I do like some metal. I think the thing with some metal, it's like it feels like it kind of loses the soul when it gets a little too like straightforward, technical, and just like straight shredding.
He covers something. He covers a song. I don't even want to tell you what.
Yeah, don't want to spoil the surprise.
It's not Iron Man.
Yeah,
it's just
right
like,
on.
So I was like, don't do it. Oh, and then the song he picked, I'm like, I'm sorry. It's a bit of a cliche metal song, but it's one of the best.
I love the grunge stuff, and I think that's what got me into metal, because it's kind of like slowed down, more emotional metal.
Oh, I'm a huge Nirvana fan. Like,
Okay.
I absolutely love Nirvana, and my friend,
I'm an Alice in Chains, Soundgarden guy.
love them too.
Yeah, I mean, I love them all. You know,
Yeah.
like even venturing into like the alternative and like Jane's Addiction, and you hear a lot of all those bands, like their styles carried over. Pearl Jam, you hear a lot of it nowadays in rock, and I think that's super cool.
See,
and then
my favorite thing about Nirvana,
yeah,
is they killed hair bands.
yeah,
I can't stand like I mean, there's songs that are obviously all these, like,
of course.
there's so many artists I don't like. I'm like, oh, they have this song. Like,
Yeah, I'm just glad I'm not pressured to wear makeup on stage today.
yeah, like
There you go.
I couldn't stand the like.
Although my drummer in my New York band will.
And then
He wears eyeliner.
I was watching the Tommy and Pam documentary on Hulu.
Oh, I wanted to see that.
Oh, and when you see him see like kids, like the grunge people coming up, and he's like, he's so mad he can't stand Nirvana. He's like, they killed me. I was like, ha, ha, you
Yeah.
jerk.
Yeah, and then I would also say I love, like, are you familiar with the genre trip hop or like deep chill? And I love like hip hop.
It's just blank stare. I'm like, what?
Think like electronic, but like more laid back and chill and melodic. 07 might just be my favorite group of all time. They collaborated with some really good vocalists. It's just two guys, but they play with studio musicians and different vocalists, including Sia, the pop star before she was huge. And they literally have like 35 plus songs that I absolutely love, and it's like a massage for your brain. And then I also love like Doja Cat, and like
I've heard of that. I don't know.
you've heard of her, huh?
I've heard Doja Cat.
She brought back the Mexican pizza until they sold out of it. But
yeah. I went to my Taco Bell today, and I was like, it's still sold out.
yeah, but you could thank her for the effort.
Nice.
Because she literally was like, I'll write a song for you if you bring back the Mexican pizza and partner with you.
So I've been listening to a lot of Dirty Heads and like Stick Figure and Slightly Stupid. I don't know what genre they're called, but they're very relaxing to me. I
Yeah,
just love that
absolutely.
stuff.
Another one I guess I should shout her out is Lana Del Rey, because I've been listening to a lot of her, and she's literally like every single song is amazing. It's just unreal. And her fans are crazy passionate about her too, but you can see why, because it's like her catalog is an endless well of incredible music. It's pretty impressive nowadays. You know, like back in the days, you had your Led Zeppelins and your AC/DCs who just like hit after hit after hit after hit. Well, you don't see that happen every day nowadays.
People get so mad at me because I can't stand Led Zeppelin. Like Matt Fontana, like almost punched me.
Okay, I mean, I'm not a huge like Beatles fan, but like, do you like the Beatles?
No.
Okay, well, a classic rock, but AC/DC. You mentioned AC/DC.
Love them.
Hit. Rolling Stones, The Who. Hit. You know, and it's.
But my point was like we were talking about like so many bands that you can't stand, but they have a song. Like one of my favorite songs, and if I was a baseball player, would be Immigrant Song. Like absolutely love that song.
Yeah.
But I'm like,
I've heard it a little too much.
yeah, it totally is. But like at a certain time, like I want that song. And like if I'm at a game or whatever, and I'm going up to bat, I'll put my headphones on. If I'm like the third batter in that thing, I'm like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
And then I get up to bat, and I'm just jacked as all can be. And I love the Thor movie when he comes down and he reigns supreme on all those dudes with the lightning and just beats them all
That's
down.
a Goosebumps moment.
Oh, totally. I was like, oh, dude, that is the greatest walk-up music of all time. Overplayed, but still the greatest.
Yeah, I'd probably go with something a little different. That's like
sure you
wouldn't
would.
resonate with others quite to the same degree, but it's interesting. Like I probably work out to to like trancey, you know, deep chill music, because it just like, I don't know, it's so deep and powerful to me. It kind of amps me up in another way.
Well, I think we should call it a show, man. I think we got
Fair
a
enough.
little long today, but it's been fun. That's what happens when you're having fun. Time flies, and I also set no timer, so I have no idea how long this show's gone today.
I'm a rambler.
No,
It's not much longer than any of our other shows.
you're
Okay,
just full of information, good information that we
I
needed.
appreciate that. I had a lot of fun. I was happy to be here today.
Oh, we're so happy to have you on, man. It was great. But with that said, thank you, Mike, for coming, Peter, Anything?
No, I mean we could probably talk, another hour on music, honestly.
So Peter, who's your favorite band?
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's a tough one because I love Zeppelin, but
Yeah,
because
me too, Ari.
I have every Zeppelin CD because I listened to them when I was a kid. But I
Yeah.
listened to a lot of Zeppelin, Floyd, The
Another
Who.
band. I can't
Oh.
stand that. People get mad. Like I
But-
can't stand Pink Floyd.
Like one of the
Jay.
I'll
Oh,
explain
jeez.
later.
One of the bands that my family and I really like right now is Guster. I don't know if you know Guster.
No,
they were-
rock.
They're kind of like a folk rock, like alternative. They've been around for a long time. My wife listened to them in college. They formed out of I think Tufts University, but
Okay.
it's just they're like a working band. They've had their music on
Guster.
it's been in like commercials, it's been on TV shows, and we've taken the kids even to a couple concerts, and we're going to
I
On the
gotta
Ocean,
find
yeah.
more Jimi Hendrix songs, and you gotta find.
I got some
Guster.
recommendations for you, and then my
There you go.
recommendation for the people: listen to "Freedom" by Dorothy, and thank me later.
You heard them. Well, that's the show, guys. Have a great week. Hope this week's better than last week, but not as good as next week. We'll talk to you then.